Okay, so we got the quack. We got the flat quack. We got the quacks ran together. You lengthen them out, and then you start to put less time in between them to where it becomes greeters. You had a greeter, don't get their attention. Then you had a little bit finer greeter, speed added to it, a little higher pitch maybe. And then you had that pleading greeter where you stand on that first note, that second note, maybe even that third note, and then bring it down. One thing that I want to touch on real quick is that ducks have a small diaphragm. Okay? Realistically, a duck runs out of air, so it's okay to start powerful and then die out, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what a duck's doing. So you don't want it. My point is that a duck doesn't go. That's not ducky. No. That's what we call a human cadence or a humanistic rhythm. That is a human blowing a duck call. Right. A duck is more.
That's exactly what they'll do. They'll actually, a lot of times you'll hear them on the water. They'll sit there.
And just stop.
You know?
She said what she had to say and she's done. I love that sound too right there. So now we take that quack, and now what I've always done is I've always said I'm going to have a quack, but I'm going to shorten it to where you're popping it still, where it's instead of it's and that turns into what we call the chatter, the feeding cadence. Ducks are on the water, their heads are moving, they're bobbing up and down, they're fighting for food. It could be a separator call to where they're trying to tell people get away from my source of food. And then another one comes in, and you get a bunch of ducks chattering down there. Some are quacking, some are feeding, some are, hitting those cadences, those greeters. They're watching those ducks in the air. That's what we're going to get to next, because now you can become a one-man band with a duck call, especially if you have 2 or 3 good proficient duck callers. But one man can do a lot on a duck call and run those together to where it sounds like a bunch of ducks feeding and quacking and greeting and all of that stuff. So shorten it up and tell me what the basis of the feed chuckle, the feed chatter, the feeding call is.
So I think it's easier to take a feed and do one thing. You got the quack down. Let's take that quack, make it into a hiccup, and then take that hiccup and make it into a feed call.
Okay, so now you're using a word called a hiccup.
Okay.
So
a hiccup is just basically whenever you actually got the hiccups. You pop an air. Pop an air is coming out, it's coming in, coming out, coming in. So all I'm doing is I'm taking that quack and I'm popping air in, and I'm going to do it in the back of the call. And what you can do is you can take your throat and you can tighten it down, or you can open your throat up. You can tighten it down or open it up. You'll get different sounds out of it. You can get a little fine hen, or you can get a coarse hen, raspy balls. So here it is right here. You saw right there where I transitioned it. I tightened it up. I was real loose at the beginning. I was real raspy. So. So right there is when they're sitting on the water and they're competing and they're hopping. A lot of times the mallard hen will sit there too when she's actually cleaning herself and picking her feathers. She'll actually be picking on it. You'll see them on a log or whatnot. Yeah. But that's going into a feed call. So you take a feed call and all you're doing is going or
that's with your throat.
And everything's with the throat. Closing it out, opening it up. You can do a fine hen, you can do a coarse hen, you can do a raspy in there. It's a little bit different as far as in sound. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to start off slow. It's always better to go ahead and get them training wheels on and start off slow at the beginning and then start trying to speed it up.
Your lips are almost vibrating.
They are vibrating. I'm still eating that call.
You're eating that call.
I'm letting that call. A lot of people take that call and they'll put it to their lips and they're
stiff,
hard, real stiff.
You gotta be relaxed.
Relax them muscles.
It's like swinging a baseball bat.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be all tense. You want to be loose and just relax to the strike zone.
Exactly.
Golf club. You don't tense up and flex like a bodybuilder. You just let that club head go through the
so relax
zone.
them lips. And our calls are designed to where they're so easy to blow. The feed call is so easy on it. If you just relax those muscles, you'll get a lot better sound out of it. You'll get a lot duckier out of it. So. So all I'm doing is popping air, and I'm not, believe it or not, but this is the pressure I'm using.
Real light. No stress in that at all.
But it's pressure.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. Everything comes back to pressure.
Like I could talk to you when you get that air knocked out of me. That's pressurized air, but I'm not really yelling. I'm not putting a lot of volume or inflection. I'm just great. I can't.
And that's the cool thing about what I was just, what I was talking about is that your quack and your hiccup, and then also your feed call, you can put all those three together and you just start getting real ducky.
So now I just want you to run, just give me a very, very realistic feed chatter of a couple ducks feeding on the water. Man, that sounds good. All right, so next we're going to
Very
do
light.
exactly what you just said. We're going to mix those, take those quacks, we're going to shorten them into a feed, we're going to lengthen them into greeters, we're going to put all of that together and let that marsh come alive, or in your instance, let the woods come alive. Let's move on to that.
All right, sounds good.